So this was my vision here, Al. I don't have like a list of 1 to 10 from my side quests, but
Right.
I do have like a bunch of side quests that stick out to me that I really liked doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say like a lot of the side quests in this game are basically like I did say at least 50% of them are you talk to an NPC, they say show me this echo, and that's kind of the side quest. So like those are fine, but I don't want to focus on those. There's some of them with a lot more meat on the bones there that we'll talk about, and some of them we'll talk about in depth. Some of them we'll just kind of graze over. But that's kind of that was my vision for this episode. Is like I didn't rank anything. I just wanted to talk about the ones I like, and I mean I'll be honest. Like I can't think of any that like really stuck out as I didn't like. It's just those ones that are the show me the echoes. It's like okay, like those are fine. They're quick. They're
Mm-hmm.
easy. I don't know. I guess let's start there. Like, did you have any side quests that you just like really didn't like doing? I take that back. There was one that I didn't like doing, which we'll talk about. But other than that one, I feel like they're all pretty solid here. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the ones with the echo is like I already had the echo well in advance for it. So I was just like, "Oh, here you go," instead
Yeah.
of like maybe going to adventure to find it. So I think that was the only kind of stickler I have about those quests because again, they're fine. They're not a big deal and they kind of have a funny story that goes with them. Like the kid who wanted to know about snow and you bring him a snowball. Like those some of those are cute. Or the kid that like really liked the Zols and you brought him all the different Zols.
Yeah.
Um, I think those like I think they're fine. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't. I would say that I didn't like, even though like once I did it, I was happy. But like trying to like getting up to do it made me quite rageful, which was like the horse racing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Like the music was fun. I loved the recycled horse racing music, but like the 17 seconds is ridiculous and it took me way too long and I just imagine being like a 10-year-old kid trying to do this and losing interest. So
That was tough. That was definitely tough. I have to say, like, I didn't mind the horse racing. I do wish that there was a quicker way to just like restart it. Like you failed, you want to try
yes.
again? Yes.
Yeah.
I actually owe someone an apology at Zelda Dungeon because they were complaining about that, and I was like, I feel like the game is not that bad at all in terms of that. Like you could quickly retry things, but I think they might have been specifically talking about this horse race. The
Mhm.
horse race does take a long time to do again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad either. To be honest with you, the one that obviously stuck out to me. This is going to be a shocker for no one. Is the smoothie side quest.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
just I didn't. Smoothies never really hit for me. Again, it kind of seemed to me like a poor man's version of cooking from Breath of the
Mhm.
Wild, and I was just like, I am not getting all of these recipes. I don't care like what the reward is. I'm not doing it. If it would have been a heart piece or a might crystal, something that you actually need to get to 100%, I probably would have done it. But the
Mhm.
reward is, I mean, what is it like 10
It's 10
golden
golden
eggs?
eggs. And it's not hard to get all the recipes. You just mix everything together until you get them all. That's literally it. Some of them wind up being dubious smoothies or whatever, unfortunate, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, you just mix fruit until you get all 70 whatever there is recipes.
Yeah, I just again, it's like it kind of takes a while to do that, like the from the menu and then like the text and stuff like that. I was just like, I'm not doing this. That's the only side quest that I have not completed in the game. Other than that, I've got 49
Well,
out of 50.
did you do the first 10 and then the 20?
Yes.
Then you're fine.
Yeah.
There is no side quest for getting all of them. You just do it and they're like, "Oh, what a feat. 10 golden eggs."
Oh, then I must have not done the 20 then. I swore I
Okay.
got to 20, but I did not get 10 golden eggs.
It's like 30 recipes total. You do the first 10 and then they ask for 20 more.
Oh, okay. So because I know I have 20 recipes, but I
Okay.
didn't
Yeah.
get. So I probably have like 20 or 25 recipes, but I'm not doing it. Like I don't. I'm not doing
It's
it.
the
I'm sorry.
principle. Like I'm not doing it.
I don't need smoothies. I'm not making them. I don't want to listen to. Although I do like the business scrubs. I can't say that I don't
I
like the
love
scrubs.
them. I love their little theme. I think it's great.
They're
Sounds like
they're
fun.
cool guys. They're cool guys.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, other than that, I think like at worst, the side quests are a better version of a fetch quest, if that makes sense. Like Like the
Mm-hmm.
ones that stick out to me as kind of egregious from Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom are like, go get me 10 restless crickets, and it's like, ugh,
I mean, they
okay.
did have a couple of those. Like you need like 10 kelp and 10 twisted pumpkins. There was a couple of those.
Yeah, I get like I feel like at worst, like the side quests to me remind me of that, where it's like,
Hmm.
okay, but for some reason they don't feel like as egregious because one, I felt like at least for me, like I already had almost all the stuff that people were looking for all the time,
Hmm.
and then two, I think it's just a little bit more interesting to find echoes than it is to find like crickets or bugs or
Hmm.
carrots or whatever, right? Um, so I think at worst they're basically like a less or a slightly better version of those fetch quests, and at best there's really awesome side quests here, which I'm excited to dive into. So I don't know. How about this? Yeah, you kind of came prepared today. I didn't. Do you want to kind of take us away with some of the ores on your list, and we'll follow that,
Yeah.
and I'll add in
And
any's.
I will say I didn't put this in any particular order, like 1 through
That's
10. I just
perfect.
picked 10 that I liked, that stuck out to me and I really enjoyed.
Perfect.
So let me start with something really easy. Cuckoo's on the Loose. I love that quest because it's
Just a
such a classic.
classic.
It's and it was really easy. It wasn't like difficult. I personally didn't feel like uh some people were asking where's the last cocoa and I was like, I know where it is. It's fine. I didn't feel like it was too hard. So, and then you got a bottle for it. Again,
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Like I just think it was a fun time.
You know what? I will say so. Yes, I love this side quest. I did have. It wasn't a challenge finding the last Kuko. I could see it on the top of the windmill, but when
Yeah.
I got to Kakariko pretty early on, I got
Mhm.
there not right after Suthorn. I think I did go to Gerudo first, but I don't think I'd finished the dungeon in Gerudo. And so I was just like, I want to explore around. So I got there pretty early. So I actually had no way to get the last Kuko that was on top of the windmill. So I was like, darn it. So I had to actually come back. I kind of forgot about it. And then I came back
Uh-huh.
after Jubal Waters and finally like finished it off. And I was very pleased to see the Kukos that I had I was going to say captured. Let's try to find a better word than that. The Kukos that I had returned were still in the
We're still
pen.
there. That's
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
which is nice because I
Mhm.
feel like that's not always the case when you are, returning them.
Yeah. I guess I never like not finished it, so I haven't noticed that
Yeah.
being the case before, but that would be nice to come back and be like, "Oh, I don't have to catch them all again."
Yeah, so I agree. I feel like that's just an absolute like classic side quest. It's kind of those ones that just blasts you with a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit
Hmm.
of good feeling, which we all need right now. So that's a good one. I love that one.
Nice. All right, what would you say your again, we're not doing this in any order, but what would you say your next side quest would be?
Well, I kind of wanted to follow you, to be honest here
Oh,
with
okay.
Yal,
I'll go with
but
my next
I
one.
could do one if you want. You know what?
If
Let's
you
just
got one.
follow you. Let's follow you.
Okay.
You take the
Um,
you take the reins.
I got another one that's kind of like on the simple side, but I think the dialogue was super hilarious and just like made me like laugh a lot. And as the mobbing Mothulas, I've talked about it before, and it's with
Oh,
the
with the
scrubs
scrub
who
too.
are
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to the vegetable patch in the sky because these Mothulas are gonna kill me.
Yeah. That's
And I just
I like that. They're very dramatic.
they're so dramatic. And like all you do is you just go find the Mothulas and you kill them and then you come back and they're like, "Oh, we're at the end times." And you tell them that you killed the Mothulas and they're like, "Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Thank you so much." I loved anything that had to do with the scrubs and their dialogue was like whoever wrote them and did all their like speaking was like spot on. It was so good. It was so funny. So I just like that side quest because of how dramatic they are.
Yep, I think that's a good one. And that's kind of what I mean when I say like this game to me is like a slightly better version of like fetch quest because I mean that's basically what this. It's not quite a fetch
Mhm.
quest, but it's pretty close. But I think the characterization is very charming and very cute, which the art style helps too. So yeah, I like this one. I don't know if it would have stuck out necessarily for me, but it wasn't one that I thought was like bad by any means.
Hmm. You get a mic crystal for it, so I
Yeah.
mean, if you're doing 100%, you kind of have to do it anyways. But I wouldn't say no to doing that one again just to read the dialogue. Okay, next on my list, I have Donna's challenge.
Yes, I love
I
that
feel like
one.
you would like this one.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. and it's basically Dona's over here kind of like I want to test my security and I want to test my girls here. So go break into the treasury, I think it was, and sneak past that, see if you can sneak past my guards and get to the treasure at the end. And that's what you do. And it's not particularly challenging or hard. It's just like the Hyrule Castle bits where you're sneaking past the guards. You can use some clever echoes. You could like fall from the ceiling too. You can go dig a hole at the top if you wanted, or you could just go through the front door. And then you get the silk pajamas out of it, which I think is one of my favorite clothing items.
I totally agree. I love the silk pajamas. It kind of reminds me of like the Hylia getup from Skyward Sword a little bit, which is funny because they're just like pajamas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one too. This is one of the earlier side quests that I did in the game, where I was just like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like this is a cool, it's got kind of everything that I like. It's got some stealth. It's got like good character. It's got a good reward. So I remember doing this one and thinking that like, yeah, this is a pretty solid side quest. And I don't know, I just like I really like the stealth sections in Zelda. I always kind of wish that we had more, but also like you don't want to overdo a good thing either, you know? So, yeah, this one would have been, if I was to make a top 10 list, this one would have been on my top 10.
Nice. Okay, next one that I have, I'm trying to save like the more substantial ones for last.
How about I want to jump in with one if I may.
Okay, you go for it.
This may or may not be on your list, but and again, this is kind of keeping with what you said. The more substantial ones we'll do a little bit later. You mentioned it earlier, but I really loved Snowball Magic, where you have to take the giant snowball and like maneuver it through Heber Mountain and avoid the other snowballs that are coming to destroy it. And I think there's a couple enemies along the way too. And it's not like super hard or whatever, but I had to do it a couple different times to finally get the snowball from point A to point B, and you get a great reward out of it, which is the heart piece. And it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like just like a nice tranquil side quest that you're not like in any imminent danger. It's just kind of like, can you best the elements around you, which I kind of like as well.
Yeah, I think I remember doing it, and I think I do remember wishing it was slightly more challenging. But overall, like it was a fun time. Like the snowball's coming after you, and I'm like, no, leave my snowball alone.
Yeah.
And I love that Condi is like, if we do this, this will help like lead my brother back, you know. So of course, I love helping Condi.
Yes, of course. I had a lot to talk about with Condi on our not story episode today. We'll talk about it later.
All right. We'll be ready for it. Okay. Let's do with, I'm going to go with questioning the local cats. I think
okay.
Like, again, it's like kind of short and not too difficult, but I like the whole concept of how the little old man, he's like, I can't find my little companion cat, and he's like, by the way, you could talk to cats. Did you know that? And I didn't know that. And you go and talk to some other lady and you try to take the clothes from her because she already bought it. And then you wear the little cat outfit and you talk to cats, and they are very cat coded. Like their energy is like, I don't know, I don't care, go talk to this other cat.
Yeah.
And then you find the old man's cat sleeping in a tree. It's very cute.
I thought this was a great side quest, to be honest with you. Like I like, again, like you're right, it's small, it's simple, but there's just something about being able to talk to the cats, you know? Like, and I used my Meebo a little bit earlier, pretty much as soon as Hyrule Castle was done, to get the cat suit. So I was already talking to a few cats here and there beforehand. But the black cat suit, by the way, which I think looks cooler than the brown cat suit that you get as part of this quest. Yeah, I don't know. It was actually less about the side quest itself, but like more so about just like talking to these cats and seeing their dialogue, kind of like you mentioned. Like I just thought it was really charming, really funny, and again, like whoever did the writing, I thought did a really good job of nailing down like what you would expect a cat to say. So the quest itself was fine. It was easy, but this was a charming quest that I also would have had in mind.
I do like that there is, I wouldn't say a follow-up, but there is another quest where you have to talk to a cat later. I didn't put it on my list, but it's very sweet, where the cat's like, this lady always tries to fish for me. She's terrible at fishing. I want to give her a treat. And so you give the lady a treat, a smoothie, I think, and it was very cute. So yeah, I think that even though like I only wear the cat clothes in those two instances, somehow they add to the game in a charming way.
I had my catsuit on for like a long time.
Oh, did you?
I was
I
doing
was
a dungeon
mostly
in it. I don't know. I was like, why not? Kind of
I was
reminded
in
me of like Super
pajamas.
Mario Bros. When they had like the cat outfit.
Mm-hmm. It did make me think of like Princess Peach in the cat outfit.
Yeah, yeah. I've got another one if you want to just
Yeah,
bounce
go
back
for
and
it.
forth here. Um, I feel like this is still kind of a simple one. Maybe you could say it's more intricate, but I don't think so. This was actually the first side quest that I was playing in the game where I was like, this is awesome, and that was one soldier too many.
Yes, and I had the exact same feeling where I was like, "Oh, finally, like a
A
really long,
cool
kind of
side
decent
quest.
side quest."
Yeah, and I mean, like it's pretty easy, like in the grand scheme of things. You just have to talk to a few of the guards and stuff like that. But the general gist is that, there is one guard too many in Castletown or High Castletown. I keep on wanting to call it Hyrule Town.
Yeah.
So there's a guard too many in Castletown, and you need to do a little bit of sleuthing in order to find out what's going on. And you find out that there is an extra set of armor that was missing, and the spear of one of the sets of armor was damaged. And I think at this point, all of us are kind of thinking like, this means big trouble. Like this,
Yeah, I did think
something is
that.
gonna go down here. Like, is there a boss fight coming? And it turns out it's just like a guy. He just wanted to help out, and he's like, well, whatever. I'm gonna take the spear. I'm gonna take the armor. I'm gonna help these Hyrule guards. And I don't know. I thought it was so like it was a subversion of my expectations. So I
Mhm.
was like, okay, you know what? Good on you, buddy. Like, wanting to help out and do your, do your civic duty. Like, I respect that. I liked kind of the sleuthing around. I love a good
Mhm.
mystery in my
Mhm.
video games, and yeah, I thought that it was a cute little quest. It really was the first one where I was like, because at that point, like I said, like most of the quests had been basically like show me this echo.
Mhm.
And this one was one where I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, there's a little bit more meat on this bone. So this one stuck out to me.
Mhm. It did to me as well, and I have it on my list. I maybe I just took it a little too literally, which is kind of how my brain operates. Where they were saying damaged equipment, I kept going to all the guards, and I'm like, all their armor looks fine.
Yep.
The only thing that looks different is when you go back and kind of talk to everybody again, which is what I did, and they're like, "Oh, but my spear broke," and so you find the broken spear, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I finally figured it out. But like, I swear to God, I probably went through that gang of soldiers like 5 times, and I'm like, none of them are saying anything suspicious. None of their armor is damaged. It was the spear that's damaged. So
Can I
yeah,
say, I gotta say one thing too.
oh,
I was sure that the fraud was the dude in the well who's always sleeping. I was like, it's like, this guy is for sure the guy
no,
that's not supposed
he's
to
a
be
real
here.
one.
Yeah.
He's a real one. We all feel like that sometimes at our jobs.
Yeah,
So
he's a standard. He's been working there 15 years, and he's like, you know what? I can get away with taking a little snooze on the job. No worries.
yeah, so it wound up being a little bit more difficult for me, I think, but like in the end it was like a really fun kind of sleuthing detective work kind of quest. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. What you got next, Al?
Okay. I've got let's do the Zappy shipwreck.
Oh, the Zappy ship, the one that you so generously told me about. I thought I'd
Mhm.
done it, but I had not.
Mhm.
Amazing side quest.
I think so too. I was like because I hadn't done the Eastern Temple at this point either.
Yeah.
So I was like really surprised that we were getting a mini dungeon in this like sunken, well, I guess it's not totally sunken, but this like dilapidated ship. And
Hmm.
then we get like a really actually solid cool boss battle at the end of it. I think its name is like Bori. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very Baronade like. I was over here ripping little jellyfish off of him and trying not to get electrocuted. It was really fun, and I was like surprised that it was there, and I was hopeful that we would have more mini dungeons.
Yeah.
So
I really really enjoyed this because I had done the Eastern Temple at this point, and I thought it was really cool. I actually also done the, oh god, I can't remember, but the one in Farron as well. So
the cotton candy hunt.
the cotton candy hunt, yeah. So
Mhm.
I was like really kind of excited because you told me that it was a substantial quest, and it is. So
Mhm.
first and foremost, the Metroid fan of me was really excited to see a location called the wreck ship.
Okay.
Being that there's a wreck ship in Super Metroid, so I was like, oh yeah, cool, let's go. But you're right, it had kind of like everything that you really want. It was like it was a long, involved side quest. it had those sections that I really enjoyed, which were the 2D swimming sections in the dark, which I think really adds to the ambiance, very Donkey Kong Country-esque. A couple cool puzzles, and then Baronade just makes his return, which is awesome because I mean we haven't seen. I guess we've kind of sort of seen versions of this guy in Wind Waker, but like really you haven't seen him since Ocarina of Time, and it was also just like kind of another cool example of Echoes of Wisdom pulling from like previous games for bosses and stuff like that. So I quite enjoyed this one actually, and again you get like a good reward, which was really the icing on the cake. Get another bottle, which you can never have too many bottles.
Do we ever talk about how the bottles, they just automatically catch fairies when you walk into them? I don't think we ever talked about that.
I don't think we did either. I like it.
I like it a lot too. Because sometimes you need to be like swinging a net or swinging the bottle around and you miss, and then you accidentally touch it, and then it uses it, and then you're like, oh man, I wanted to catch that. I really like that it automatically gets in the bottle, and that the fairy seems happy to get in there, because sometimes like in Wind Waker, the fairy does not look happy to be in that bottle. So.
No, not at all. You kind of feel rotten for trapping the fairy actually.
The fairies are like, yeah, I'm good, let's go. Get in the bottle with you.
I remember. I can't remember who it was now, but I remember somebody said that they didn't like that feature, and I kind of was like, why? And I don't remember if I ever heard a compelling argument against it, but maybe.
I mean, listen, I'm willing to hear, if you have a reason, so.
Maybe like that it was too easy to capture fairies, although I feel like it's just kind of streamlining them, because I mean, if you see a fairy, you're going to capture it anyways, right? Like if you have to take out your bottle or your net, it might as well just be save yourself a couple steps. So I kind of was like, I think it's fine. But yeah, I like that feature a lot, and it's just nice because you don't have to mess around with like, all the different buttons and actions and stuff like that, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but I mean, like at the end of the day, it probably saves you a bunch of different time.
It does. I think so. All right, what's your next side quest?
I'm gonna cheat here a little bit, Al, and do like a bunch of them kind of combined in one, and just talk about the automations from Dombe.
Okay.
Because I actually don't think that like any one of them stands out in particular, and they're basically the culmination of like other side quests that you do. But I did like kind of the formula that you had to go and find. You had to like match an item in the overworld with a specific echo to get you the cool automations. So I never used them very much. And actually, I was talking to Goo, and Gooey said that he does use automations quite a lot, and so kind of made me want to tinker around with them in my next playthrough.
I guess.
Yeah. But I did want to shout out to that, because I did kind of like just the quick mixing and matching of the items and the automations and stuff like that. I think you already touched on my favorite one. That was when you have to create like the out there Zol for the Curious Kid, which is actually, the Curious Kid was also probably the best version of like show me this echo to get a reward. So I kind of think like that, the automation and the show me the echo kind of came together in a nice way in that particular side quest. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about automations, but I did just want to shout them out, I guess. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.